So, how many of you here that have some familiarity with Tibetan tradition? You don't have any? Oh, I didn't see your hand. So we're going to recite Guru Rinpoche's prayer, or chant. Hung organ yugi nu jam sam pemargesar dang pula yang sen chuki nu jubne pema junye shesu jwa kordu kanjo ma Pokor keki Jesu da jugi chingi lapji she suso guru pema siri organ yugi nu jam sam Temargesar Pola Choki Nujunye Pema Junye Shesujwa Kordu Kanjo Ma Pokor Keki Jesu Dag Jugi Chingi lapji she suso guru pema siri hung. And at the Oregon Northwestern frontier, a stem Valkrona and a lotus flower, wondrous supreme accomplishment attained, and the lotus born renowned, encircled by retinue of many dakinis, so that I may become like you. Please come and grant your blessing. Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. So take a moment and take refuge in whichever way you can, because we're all in a way we're all here. We're seeking refuge. We're seeking help so we can be happier and more peaceful. That's what refuge means, help. Because we can't do it on our own. We need some kind of refuge that we can rely on, that can help us. See if you can clarify on your own terms why you need to take refuge. Or do you need to take refuge at all? And what are we taking refuge in? Also, you should notice and be clear what happens when you take refuge. Actually see what happens when you take refuge in something, somebody. So this is about meditation. So meditation can be a form of refuge. We take refuge in meditation. Because it helps us. So, since it's about meditation, I'm going to talk a little bit about meditation. There's so many different ways to look at meditation, to define meditation. And most of us probably here somewhat have our own ideas what meditation is from your own experience and from what you've observed. So, when we meditate, the way of meditating, in a way there can be like two different approaches to meditation. One is effortful, and the other is non-effortful. Probably the one that most of us are familiar with is the effortful meditation. Concentrative meditation. And the other one is non-effortful, is relaxing meditation, being meditation. when we were just being, just relaxing, just resting, do we have to concentrate to relax? So, concentrated meditation, effortful meditation, is like a mindful meditation, breath meditation. Okay? So we're going to actually do, we're not just going to talk about it. So most of you are familiar, have done concentrated meditation, right? Effortful meditation. I want you to take a few moments and just do the meditation, concentrated meditation that you've been doing, and see what that is actually. Okay? Just being mindful, observing the mind, being the mind, concentrating on the breath, being the breath. So you just pick one object and you just be that. All your attention is placed on that particular object of meditation or concentration. So in this meditation, in the beginning, you need more effort. As you become more stable and familiar, you need less effort. But we're holding one object of meditation, and there's effort involved, which prevents the distraction, mind from going out from its object of attention. And this is how we start to calm or settle the mind. We can start to feel the natural peace, calmness of mind by simply decreasing its activity. And of course, there are many levels to this meditation. And when you fully develop this meditation, become established in this meditation, then it automatically becomes a non-effortful meditation. Now the other meditation, the non-effortful meditation, for lazy people, okay? Sounds easy, simple. Let's see if it is. See if you can just simply relax. Okay? You can just simply sit, or just simply relax, or just be, or just rest. That's all. We don't have to concentrate on anything. We just simply try to settle, decrease the activity of the mind through just simply relaxing. Letting whatever you find, wherever you are, whatever you are, just be as it is. Just simply relax into whatever you feel or experience without commenting. Just simply start to let things be as they are. Let yourself be as you feel yourself. Just let that be. So just just rest or be or just relax in whichever way you can. See, in a way, we're letting go of what we're holding on. Most of us, even if we're not conscious, we're holding on to something we are. And you can begin to see that when you start to try to really be relaxed and start to just let go of everything. Not involved in anything, not concentrating on anything, not focusing on anything, but just simply being. We can be, we can see, we can feel without being anything. We don't have to focus on our feeling. We don't have to concentrate on our feeling. We don't have to be stuck in our feeling or emotion. This is very intuitive, not clearly structured. So you have to do it in a very intuitive way. You feel your way. You're meditating with your whole body and your presence, not just your mind. The whole presence. And we don't worry about whether we're doing it right. Just forget about that. Just do it, okay? It's not important whether you're doing it right or wrong. It's like a blind person feeling their way in a relaxed way. Because we're not familiar with the state of natural resting, natural relaxation. State of just being. State of just being without being anything. Normally, for most of us, there isn't that much time that we have which can just be. We're constantly being one thing or another, always being something, never just simply being. All right? You notice any difference? Which one works better for you? I can't read your mind, okay? So you have to tell me. Where's the mic? Anybody? Huh?
The relaxing one. The last one was easier because you didn't have to focus on anything.
Right.
You didn't have to focus on your breath. You just feel your body.
Right.
You just feel your body.
So all you have to do is just spend more time to become familiar with that. That can be just as powerful as the concentrated meditation. First of all, we should begin to notice how little time we spend not being lost or carried away in something. So most of you here, which time is greater? You being focused on something, involved in something, or you just being relaxed, not involved, not lost in anything? Where do you spend your time more? Huh? Speak up.
Focused, more time focused.
What'd you say?
I feel like I spend more time focused, but I had more ease with the surrendering or the relaxing meditation.
Right. Doesn't that feel better?
It does.
But we're caught up. That's our habit. We're so conditioned. But we can break this. But we got to start somewhere. That's why we meditate. That's the only way we can break our habit. It's not going to happen by itself. And there's no end. You feel that little piece, that you get a taste of that. Doesn't that feel? Can you buy that anywhere? No, it's from yourself. Naturally. You're just creating the condition for it to self-manifest. We can't make it happen. All we can do is create the condition for it to manifest by itself, because it's already in here. We are that already. Because we are not what we are, constantly lost, distracted, this thing, that thing. That's why we can't be who we really are. Because most of the time, we're lost in what we are not. You are not what you think you are, what you perceive yourself to be, what you feel yourself to be, what you experience yourself to be. That's the first thing you should be clear. That's why we're distracted. We identify what we perceive, feel, and experience. And we just think that's the way that things are. So this is the way we've been going our whole life. But it doesn't have to be. That's why you're suffering. That's why you have problems. So one definite way to do this practice is non-focusing. Very simple. So how many of you here have problems with thinking or thoughts? Huh? Do all of you have control? No problem with thoughts? Wouldn't it be nice, the thoughts don't bother you? You get these afflictive thoughts, emotions. They're thoughts, actually. Yeah, what what would it be like? You're free from them. That doesn't mean they don't appear, they don't arise, but they don't affect you. So what would it be like? It would be, another example is you get somebody that really pushes your button, just even at the appearance of that person, or anything that you have strong aversion. So what would it be like, if they no longer pulled you away? You look at that and you don't react. If we react, we can't be who we are. So if you can just be, there's great peace. It's innately perfect and complete. We can get a taste of that at many different levels. But it's not so easy, as it sounds so simple. It's not so easy to just be. But, I'm pretty sure you've heard of the phrase, bliss of being. There's no BS, it's real. We can just be, there's natural bliss. Natural compassion, natural openness. So we need some easy, definite method or practice to not be distracted, not be carried away, but still be aware, okay? We can close our eyes, try to shut our mind down and not be distracted, but then we can't function. We want to be able to see everything, feel everything, experience everything without being distracted. So how can we do that? Huh? You don't know? Anybody else? Huh? Who's doing the mic?
Mindfulness.
Yes, that's one of the ways, yes. Good. Mindfulness, consciousness, awareness, presence, those can help you. Good. But there's one other that I'm trying to sell. Non-focusing. What happens when the thoughts arise and we get captured by the thoughts? What are we doing? How is that happening? We don't know it. We're not even conscious. We're focusing on that. Can you see that? When we get lost in something, what are we doing? We're focusing on that. We're stuck in that. And that automatically creates the separation, the duality. Most of you have heard being in a non-dual state is naturally peaceful, positive, not distracted. This is how we pick become distracted, how we become dualistic. This is what makes us experience that you are different or separate from me. From that comes, I'm better than you. You know, all the other things. See, we see the difference. We don't see the genuine likeness that unconsciously binds us. You know, that's what's called sometimes humanity, or whatever word you want to use. So when you're empathetic towards someone, that separateness goes away, right? The more you feel separate, less empathetic you are, less connected you are to others. How could non-focusing, you know, I mean, we all know what non-focusing, what the hell's the big deal about non-focusing, you know? But I bet you not very many of us have really tried to see what it can do. And one big thing I don't want to leave out, it is said in Buddhism, and probably a lot of other traditions, all the suffering basically comes from attachment, grasping. Can you begin to see that? What happens when you grasp, when you really want something, you know, and you can't get it? We throw temper tantrums, inwardly and outwardly. So how can we start not to grasp or be attached? Again, mindfulness, consciousness, presence, awareness can help. Because when we're so attached, you know, we're hardly aware, we're just totally lost in the object of attachment. And we're not present. And we're not even conscious. So you can do that, or you can simply do the non-focusing. All right, let's do the practice of non-focusing. How many of you, I mean, other than the people who are familiar with, you know, my teaching, how many of you are familiar, have done or tried to do the practice of non-focusing? Huh? Anybody? No, you don't count. I'm talking about people I don't know, you know. Have you ever tried to do the practice of non-focusing? I know you probably tried mindfulness and other one, like being present, like the power of now, Eckhart Tolle's power of now. All right, I want you to first pick an object, okay? And just look at that object as you normally look at it. Most probably, you're probably focusing on it. But you're not really conscious if you're focusing on it, because that's the way you look at things. That's the way you see all the time. So just look at that object, become clear and familiar how you're looking at that object. See, most of the time when we look, we're focusing and we're not even conscious, we're not familiar, we're not clear that we're actually focusing on the object. We just see the object haphazardly, half aware. Just spend a little time, look at that object, and start to be really clear, conscious how you're looking at that object, as you usually look at that object. But we usually don't put effort or time to see how we're really seeing what we're seeing. Now look at that same object and don't focus on that object. Just look at that object with your eyes open, but just don't focus. And you just do it the way you can. So non-focusing means we're not narrowly looking at something. Non-focusing means we're looking at the object, but we're also looking at everything else. That object is just a part of everything else. It's not separate from all the other things. So we're just looking at everything. But we're still seeing the object. Object doesn't disappear. Just see that object non-focusingly. Without being stuck in that object. Of course, for most of you, it's not going to be clear right away. It's a new way of seeing, But I just want you to start to notice the difference. Do we have to focus to see what we're seeing? Do we have to be stuck in what we're seeing to be able to see? So what do we do when we really want to see something for most of us? What do we do? How do we try to see something, really want to see something? What do we do?
Look at it up close,
Well, you focus, right?
concentrate and
Yeah,
look at the details and examine everything.
yeah. You focus on the object, right?
Yes, focus on it.
Isn't that what you usually do when you really want to see what it is? You know?
Look at it up close, look at it far away.
Yeah, but you're
examine it
stuck
all.
on that object. And you're just totally forgetting about not paying attention to the other objects. So, in a way, when we focusingly see, which most of us, that's where we see, it's like we're eyesight, we're seeing through a straw. This is how we're, instead of that's why we miss out on a lot of things. We don't know what's going on the other parts because we're just so stuck in that one particular object or what we're seeing. See, those of you who are here know this practice, and it's a simple practice. And you may say, what's the big deal? I know I've done that, Yeah, it works, it helps. The real deal is you got to get into it to see what it really has to offer. But what's so great about this is you can immediately experience the results without having a PhD intellect. Yeah, so I consider myself as a blue-collar practitioner, The secret lies in practicing. That's how we get into deeper. That's how we can begin to utilize all the potential of certain practice. It's not just finding right practice and it's going to automatically open things up for you. No, it's not like that. It's finding something that you feel connected, but you got to really get into it. You got to really milk it. You got to really try to see what it has to offer. And there's no other way other than through practice. You have to invest, get returns. So what did you notice when you did the practice of focusing and non-focusing? Well, did you notice anything different?
So I think when I'm focusing on something, I'm seeing it as an independent object.
Right, separate.
And, right, with non-focusing, it's become a part of everything else around it.
Exactly.
It's dependent, and relative.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. There's no separation. The separation comes from our fabricating mind, mind that's making things what is really not there. The mind that we're born with, this karmic mind with certain predispositions and habits and conditioning. That's what this starts to break up. This is how we start to break that habit, the chain of samsara. It can be a big deal.
Hi, Brendan. Thanks for coming. What I've been able to see a little bit more recently is that I can almost see myself or feel myself zooming in on the object. And if I can, just say, take a breath and move it back, it's almost like I can, it's a screen instead
Exactly.
of me hanging on to
Yeah.
the picture.
It's not, you're not stuck in the image on the screen. It is a screen. See, you can look at the screen and the object. Most of us, when we go to the movie, we just look at the object, totally forget about the screen. That's how we operate. That's what Ramana Maharshi says. That's one of his pointing out or pith instruction. He says, we're lost in the image. We don't see the screen at all. So who we really are is the empty screen. And all the things that appear is very part of this empty screen. The image is not separate from the screen, right? But we think it is separate, totally different than the screen. We think of all the things that we see, feel, and experience are separate and different from the mind which sees, from the awareness which experiences that. We forget about the awareness. We forget about the mind. This is who we really are before we are anything. We are the empty mind, empty awareness. This is what we don't see, what we don't experience. This is our true nature. And the simple practice of non-focusing automatically makes that separation, difference disappear without consciously trying to do it, just by simply not focusing. I mean, it's obvious. If you don't focus on the object, you can't get lost in the object, right? Can you? Right? If you don't focus on the object, can you get lost in the object? Can you be attached to the object? I mean, it's so simple. Deceptively simple. Maybe that's why no one's been selling it. There's no, big flash or anything, so, no one's going to be interested in this. How simple it is. Just non-focus. So when you don't focus, I say you don't focus when the awareness, we're aware, right? Right? When the awareness doesn't focus on the object, where is the difference between the object and the awareness. Huh? Anybody? Can somebody please tell me?
There isn't a difference. They're both empty of being anything.
Right, exactly. That's another way of saying the problem is when we focus, it becomes something. The thingness. That's what makes us perceive, feel things to be real, solid, separate, which is totally false. We're not separate from all the things that we see. I'm not separate from you. Are we? Are we independent of one another? Are you independent of all the things that you see, feel, and experience? Are you just an island by yourself? But that's how we usually perceive unconsciously. That's what focusing can stop. Automatically. So if you have a problem with anything, of course you have a flat tire, you got to fix the flat tire. Non-focusing is not going to fix the flat tire. Okay? But if you have a problem, like emotional afflictions, negativities, when you don't focus, they lose their power. They gain their power only through your focusing. Then they gain the power over you. Then they got you. If you don't focus, there's no way. This is how we can start to be free. We're a free country, right? Everybody wants freedom. This is true freedom. See, we can be free from all the outer objects and situations, but if you're not free within your mind, then you're not free. It doesn't make any difference. But if you're free within your own mind, by knowing your mind, by being the empty mind, you're automatically free from all the things. This is how we can totally free ourselves. Isn't that appealing at all? Do I have to get something better? See, I'm just giving you a taste. If you're interested, look into it. Go into it. If you're totally satisfied the way you are, then you're wasting your time here. All right, any other questions?
So when you find yourself caught up in the focus, how do you just turn it off and non-focus? It seems like it takes, you have to be aware of it first,
Right, of course.
that you're focusing on
Right.
this.
You have to be aware to do the practice
Yes.
of non-focusing.
But at times it's hard to turn off that mind that keeps going and going.
That's it. You gotta practice. You can't do it right away. But once you start to notice, when we start to not focus, first of all, we're not aware that we're aware, but there has to be awareness, okay? Awareness, mindfulness, consciousness, okay? Presence. That's there automatically. Once we start to do the practice of non-focusing. Otherwise, you can't do the practice of non-focusing without being aware or present. Because that's what starts to stop the distraction, starts to pull things back. Being, non-focusing, that's what it does. You come back to the seer. Instead of being lost in the object, you come back to the awareness. And you know what it means from your own understanding, meaning not focusing, okay? I can't define it anymore. You can't, this is another thing you should notice. When we communicate with one another, you can't explain everything. And you don't have to, because there's a common denominator of understanding, comprehension that we all have. We have to give so much, then the rest the other person gets. Okay? So you already, this is what's called, you already have a certain amount of discriminating wisdom. I don't have to define everything. I don't have to explain every word I say, everything, because you already have. That's why you can understand. That's why you can comprehend. We shouldn't overlook that. And that's how you start. You know what it means to not focus. So go from there. Didn't you see the difference when you did the two, focusing and non-focusing? Notice the difference? Tell me somebody here when they did both of the practice, they didn't notice any difference whatsoever. Focusing and non-focusing. See, that's what I wanted to hear from you. What is the difference? What did you feel? Don't be shy, I'm... it's like, I have to tell you, I'm up here exposing myself, taking my clothes off. Well, you gotta do a certain amount, we gotta reciprocate, I just can't be doing it, Then I start to feel uncomfortable. And this is the way I like to communicate here. More of a Socratic method, not so much Tibetan way of doing it. Tibetans, they give you the teaching, you go home and you're supposed to practice. So they get the teaching when they go home and start to practice, the questions start to come up. Then they have to wait till when they see the teacher again next time. Here, we're going to try to do it all at once.
So I'm picturing a zoom in and zoom out camera.
Yeah,
So you zooming in, and
Yeah.
then when you don't focus, you
Right.
zoom out.
yeah, right,
And you just be.
yeah. You got to be the wide angle.
Yeah.
0 degrees,
Yeah.
not, not 5 millimeter, 22 millimeter, 24 millimeter wide angle, You got to be totally wide. Okay.
So I'm thinking when you're having distressing thoughts or you're in a
Yeah.
place where you don't want to be, you've got to kind of take a step back. And I kind of tell my mind, I don't want to be this. This is not serving me. And maybe I might think of something else.
Why, that's an anecdotal method.
Yeah.
You see? You don't want to be stuck in the negative, so you focus on the positive. Here, we're not doing that.
Right?
But this is the thing now, don't overlook.
Okay.
You gotta develop this practice before you can go out and really start to feel the fruits or begin to really work with difficult situation, It's like you don't put somebody out on the battlefield after 10 minutes of training, right? What happens? They're going to get mowed down. Same here. Main thing is you got to find something that you can work with, sink your teeth in, that you have a connection with, that you can work with, that works for you. That's what. If it doesn't work for you, go look for something else. But if this works for you, why not get into it? Why not develop it? Why not make it into something that you can really use? All right, I've spoken enough. I'm tired. If there aren't any more questions, we'll end here. Dedication prayer. In the world in general and in this nation, may we not even name disease, famine, war, suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities, merit, prosperity greatly increase. May the continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arise. This nation, not even the name of disease, famine, war, suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities, merit, prosperity greatly increase. May continuous good fortune, sublime well-being perfectly arise in the world in general, in this nation, where suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities, merit, prosperity greatly increase. May continuous good fortune, sublime well-being perfectly arise. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, thus defeat the neurosis and negative actions, the enemies, from the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may all beings be liberated.